our inaugural Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Let me read a few words about why we are doing this. In the industry, controls create the value of a product. Automation is the platform on which controls operate. The function of various controls drives the value of any product, what it is measuring or controlling. Innovation drives value. Invention drives patents. The contributions of the honorees in the Measurement, Control, and Automation Hall of Fame have notably driven value to our customers. The thrust of the NCAA Hall of Fame is to recognize individuals whose body of work has contributed to the instrumentation and control industry in a significant and memorable way. All of you, as members of the NCAA, are free to nominate candidates for the honor. Following the nomination, NCAA staff will perform additional due diligence, and then the information flows up to the board of the NCAA. And once we reach a critical mass in the Hall of Fame, the NCAA board will select the candidates, and then it is up to the honorees to participate in the selection process for the next crop of honorees. The intention is to induct one honoree each year. However, until we reach 5 members, up to 3 honorees may be inducted in the first year Hall of Fame, which is this year. Up to 2 honorees may be honored next year or selected next year, and thereafter, 1 individual will be elected to the Hall of Fame. So this afternoon, we do indeed have the pleasure and the honor to induct 3 members into the first, for the first time into the Hall of Fame. We'll have a little bit of a slideshow going on here. Our first honoree is Gordon Arnold. Is the executive chairman of Sierra Monitor Corporation. He attended Melbourne School in Melbourne, Australia. He has a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from San Jose University. He has extensive sales management experience, including creating domestic sales channels and developing international sales territories in Latin America and Asia. He is a founding member of Sierra Monitor in 1979 and led the design and development of Sierra Monitor's product line. He oversaw introduction of field server gateway automation product line. During his tenure at Sierra Monitor, he developed the first digital bidirectional multi-drop communication bus between sensors and controller. The first serial Modbus communication output for plant-wide systems. The first interface to third-party legacy sensors and devices, and the first cost-effective web-based graphical system for monitoring plant-wide hazardous gas conditions. Gordon grew the measurement business of Sierra Monitor to over $20 million in annual revenue. The NCAA board, he was also on the NCAA board between 2003 and 2007, most recently as the chairman of the NCAA board between 2006 and 2007. He has worked to increase association membership, and he's introduced multiple customer surveys and identified influential trends such as the harmonization of the previously mentioned NRTLs, or nerdless, as our friend Jim likes to call them. Our first honoree, Mr. Gordon Arnold. The honorees are receiving a fabulous trophy or gift signifying their entry into the Hall of Fame. Mr. Arnold.
Fame. And I wanted to thank, first of all, Joe for the nice introduction, and also to the MCA team, especially Cynthia and T, for creating the Hall of Fame. So gratitude to all the MCA, and especially to my wife Isabel for supporting my work over 37 years in the industry. When we talked about what Joe was going to say, there was going to be something about travel, and he didn't say it, but I have traveled very extensively during this period of time, and my point about that is that I like the admonition that travel is an activity, it's not an accomplishment. So we've got to accomplish things when we do the travel, and if we look as a team here, whether we're traveling across town or across the oceans, the place we're going, the target destination, is probably not high on the tourist list for the area. It's going to be a wastewater treatment plant. It's going to be a refinery chemical plant, food processing, a telephone pole, probably not a hotel like the one we're in at the moment. And I think that's a point about our industry. We are the manufacturers, the designers, the manufacturers, the distributors of the tools of measurement and control that keep the infrastructure of industry and our cities alive. And we never get recognized for that. The products are not seen, they're seldom promoted anywhere, but they're key to the way our society is able to function. So, if you think about other industries, Steve Jobs was mentioned earlier this morning, where we've got the electronics industry that creates products on a monthly basis, or the component industry that release products, multiple products every year. We're in an industry where we design products, design and support products that are expected to last for decades, and I think we do a fabulous job of that. And I congratulate everybody for their participation in that part. So I accept the first entry into the Hall of Fame, and I know, looking out, there are a lot of professionals in this room and in the industry who probably should have had this long before me, but I'll look forward to welcoming others into the future classes. Thank you all very much.
A shining example for all of us. Thank you, Gordon, for your efforts. Very well merited. Our second honoree is Wade Matter. Wade is currently Flow Product Manager at Schneider Electric. He was educated at Boston University and Northeastern University. He is currently the Flow Marketing Manager at Schneider Electric since 1975, formerly known as Foxborough. Holder of numerous patents, including the multi-phase Coriolis flow meter and the pulsing pressure densitometer. Not quite sure I've seen that one yet. He is the contributor of numerous articles and technical papers on topics of measurement processes, calibration techniques, and control processes. He is a private sector member of the National Conference of Weights and Measures. He received in 2003 a certificate of acclamation from the American Society of Mechanical Engineers for his work on the measurement of fluid flow in closed conduits. He is a contributor to Measurement Instrumentation to the Measurement Instrumentation and Sensors Handbook, still a very popular tome for all of us. Please help me welcome the second honoree in the MCA Control Hall of Fame, Mr. Wade Matter.
of trivia, Gordon and I have the same birthday, which is, I don't know if you planned that. I want to thank the MCA for choosing me and whoever nominated me. It was kind of a stacked deck for me because 41 years ago, I started at one of a handful of companies that molded this industry. And I was put in an environment where innovation was king. And basically, innovation was king. I'm sure a lot of you work in companies that have that kind of heritage as well. But there was only a handful of companies globally that fit that mold. And the generation before me, as Gordon mentioned, there are a lot of names that could be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But my mentors were giants in the industry. The inventor of the DP cell, the team that introduced MagFlow to North America, pioneers in vortex shedding, the guy who rewrote the Bible of flow measurement. I heard the name Spink. Well, my mentor was the guy who rewrote that book. So how can you not end up being someone who valued innovation, coming from something like that? Also, I had an organization that was more than happy to let me have the fun I've been having for the last 40 years. I noticed on the attendance list, you're all presidents, vice presidents, managing directors, and a few CEOs in here. Because of you giving us the opportunity to do what we love to do more than anything in the world, and that is innovate. Really, because of you, this industry is so much fun to work in and so important. We change the world. People don't, Gordon said, we change the world. No one knows we're changing the world, but we change the world. And I'm really honored to accept this, actually, for all the people before me. Thank you.
Well said indeed, Wade, and thank you very much for your efforts and your innovations and contributions. Our third candidate this afternoon is Dick Morley, considered the father of the programmable logic controller and the inventor of the floppy disk drive. Where would we be without the floppy disk drive? Dick Morley spent his early years on a working farm in Massachusetts. He then went on to study physics at MIT. He's the holder of more than 20 US and foreign patents. In addition to the PLC, he holds patents for the parallel interface machine, the handheld terminal, and magnetic thin film. Dick is eccentric, some might say. He quit his engineering job in 1964 so he could go skiing on weekdays when the slopes were less crowded. Later that year, he and some colleagues created the technology company Bedford Associates. He came up with the idea of the programmable logic controller, or programmable controller, while nursing a hangover on New Year's Day, 1968. We all find our inspiration in different ways. Later in 1968, he founded Modicon, which stands for Modular Digital Controller, and he developed the first PLC for General Motors. The PLC went on to be used in various automotive assembly lines, amusement parks, and light fixtures, and now it's everywhere. His innovations have influenced the fields of computer design, artificial intelligence, automation, and technology trend forecasting. He is already a member of a Hall of Fame, the Manufacturing Hall of Fame. He was named Entrepreneur of the Year by Inc. magazine. He has already received several awards from the Franklin Institute of Philadelphia, the Society of Manufacturing Engineers, the Engineering Society of Detroit, He was the past chairman of the board for the National Center of Manufacturing Sciences. He lived and worked in The Barn in New Hampshire. The Barn is actually a global consulting firm specialized in manufacturing and process controls, especially those beyond the leading edge of the manufacturing and computer systems. The Barn also promotes lectures and seminars facilitating application of complexity science and agent-based systems. Something I'm very familiar with, not. Author and co-author of Tech Shock Caution, Future Under Repair, Out of the Barn, The Technology Medicine, How Manufacturing Will Work in the Year 2000, and Demystifying Artificial Intelligence. He has raised over 40 foster children, rode a Harley, and drove a 55 Chevy Impala. Accepting this award into the Manufacturing, or MCA Hall of Fame, is one of Dick's close friends, as Dick could not be here this afternoon, Mr. Don Clark. Don?
Thanks so much. Well, I'm honored to be here, but I have to admit, I feel I'm not up to the task to represent Dick Morley. He has some enormously huge shoes to fill, and I do not attempt or portray, if any of you do know him, that I can even get close to representing all that Dick is. But I thought I would take a couple of seconds and just share a few reminiscences about this wonderful man that many of you know probably over the years. I think the reason that I came up here is because I do know Dick for many, many years. It goes back to the early days of Monacon, my early days in my career in the mid-70s, 77 to be precise, with 3M Company, ordering some of the earliest Monacons. Ordered a few 384s to put in a plant. It was so early, the serial numbers were handwritten. But early on, I wanted to put in a Fibonacci series into the Monacon. And I called Monacon, this is when they were very small, and I said, I want to put Fibonacci. They didn't know what a series was, let alone a Fibonacci. So they actually connected me with Dick. And that was my first acquaintance, a young 25-year-old graduate engineer, chemical engineer, talking with somebody who I didn't know. And we talked at length about Fibonacci, Monacon, and he told me how I could do it. I did it, it worked great. And I asked him, don't you want to know why I'm going to do this? He says, no, I don't care. It's not important. And the reason this comes out as part of his persona that you're soon going to see, that makes him up who Dick is, because as far as he's concerned, the results aren't important. It's the process. He said, even if it doesn't work out, you're going to learn a lot. And boy, was he right. So, the Monacon PLC, how many in here can say that they've either touched and worked with the PLC of one stripe or another, or Monacon, or Modbus, in their career? I would say just about everybody in this room, except perhaps the spouse, has been touched by the Monacon. And I want to shine a little light on Dick Morley, the man, the mind, try to share some of his notions with you. But I want you to ponder first the global economic impact of this giant. Just with Schneider alone, who I'm employed by, each year, courtesy of the heritage of Monacon, and Inaugural Control, which was a building control company he founded, those two businesses represent about $2.5 billion in revenue. That's small compared to the rest of the PLC market when you add Siemens, Hitachi, etc. It's small when you add you and here, the system integrators, the distributors, all of your revenue added up, all around the world. And that's small compared to the economic impact of the steel, the automobiles, the sinks, the chairs, all of the global manufacturing on this planet. which uses PLCs. Dick did that. And then you multiply that number by 50, which is how many years this technology has been around. The numbers get big real quick. So I'm not going to talk to you about all of these aspects, because I want to talk more about his mind. I'm not going to talk to you about his 44 foster kids. The PLC. I could go into the history of the PLC, I don't want to bore you. The building management systems, Andover controls. Development of the ABS brake. He was involved in the development of the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1952 with the discovery of cosmic rays. He was partial inventor of the telescope used to discover cosmic rays. The discovery of the floppy disk. His interest in chocolate. Developing special recipes for him and for her. So he actually has recipes that are tailored to men and women. He's the one that developed the unmanned people mover. You go to Houston Airport, that mover down in the very basement of the Houston Airport, that's his. It's still running. The prototype at the barn, you can still see it. His concepts were far-reaching. He knew in working with groups of people, too small a group is negative. You don't have enough people. Too big a group is counterproductive. His mind, he arrived at the perfect number, 8. So if you ever want to have a brainstorming group, get 8 people. Why? Dick Morley said so. He's the one that came up with the configurable cash register. McDonald's was having a horrible time in the 50s and 60s because their people couldn't push the numbers on the cash register to enter 59 cents, 49 cents, and so on. He replaced the keys with pictures of hamburgers. We laugh because it's so simple, but nobody thought of that. He's the one that came up with flavors control, a truly massively parallel state engine that we're still trying to develop to this day. But what he's most proud of course, are those 44 kids. And the reason, one of his quotes, is because that made a real difference. Isn't that interesting? So how does a mind like that work? And he does this so consistently for so many decades. Well, I can give you some insights, partial, best that I could do. First, unconventionality. This guy does not march to the beat of any drummer. He's completely iconoclastic. There are no sacred cows, technically or otherwise. He thinks so far out of the box you can't see the box. He considers everything. Nothing escapes his attention. You give him an empty toilet paper tube, he sees it as an opportunity filled with error. Even how he lived was unconventional. He had an extremely modest home with a barn. But he turned that barn into a brand and a .com. Even what he wore, if you knew him personally, even if what you wore reflected those same ideas. He had 2 criteria when he wore clothes. Number 1 is that it had to be weather. If it's cold, rainy, snowy, New Hampshire, whatever. It had to be protected, of course. The second was it had to be street legal, otherwise he didn't care. His conversation style, best way to describe it, it's like watching popcorn pop. Topic, 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 topic. Completely different. It could be as far-fetched as interplanetary travel, nuclear quantum theory, mass and thermal diffusivity, didn't matter. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. But if you stick around for a while, you start to see there's a thread to all these little popcorns, kind of like a popcorn string for your Christmas tree. The guy is brilliant. So how can I, perhaps you, sitting out here, how do you pick up even a hint, just a smattering of that kind of thinking? What are some tips that I can share? Well, first, don't look where everyone else is looking. You have to look differently. You have to look everywhere. And there is opportunity everywhere you look. Visualize everything as if you were inside it. When he developed the floppy disk, it was while he was playing cards. He noticed that when he tossed cards around the card table, they would slide effortlessly across the table. So he started imagining what it would be like to be a card. And he understood the air cushion underneath. And from that he developed a moving floppy disk. Not only ask why, but answer why. Get into the depths of trying to figure out why something is, and then answering it. Don't be afraid to be a kid. Why? It's because a kid fails all the time and gets right up. So fail constantly, but learn from failure. And how you fail, this comes back to my opening statement about the Fibonacci series. The way you fail, it's the process, not the goal. Be a chef. A chef cooks the cake, doesn't eat it. The thrill is in the making. The thrill, Don, is in doing the Fibonacci. How the heck you used it, whether that was a success or not, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. So that's a really interesting insight. Well, let me wrap up as I take this. I could be here for all day talking about my friend Dick. Let me give you his life's motto. Here's his life's motto. Don't get hurt. Have fun reading about technology. Take care of your parents. And eat well. The most influential book he ever read, when he was 10 years old, he read 1, 2, 3, Infinity by George Gamow. I have to admit, I read it, unfortunately, I read it at age 12, so I'm 2 years behind Dick. Excellent book, by the way. The book you really need to pick up. Joe listed a whole series of books that Dick has. Perhaps the most important one, it's available on Kindle, is The Technology Machine, How Manufacturing Will Work in the Year 2020. It is amazing how prescient it is. His words of advice for this industry. And we've heard this theme echoed a little bit. Peter opened it with this sentiment. We've heard it from several others talking today, lamenting sort of our plight as an industry. Notice these words. This is the advice for our industry. The emphasis is on cost instead of value. That is going to kill us. Last, let me give you his words upon hearing about this award from MCAA. And I thank Peter Martin for writing these down, scribbling during our last lunch, which is a couple weeks ago. Peter and I and a few others get together on a routine basis because we're fortunate enough to live nearby. And that's one of the joys of being with Dick, is you feel like your IQ has gone up 10 points when you're with him. Unfortunately, it drops as soon as you walk out the door. But this is what Dick had to say to you, the MCA. This is a big award by MCAA. I am pleased to receive this award. Thank you. We do a good job. We won World War II. We changed the world. There is no stopping us. It is going to be different over the next 20 years. The next 20 years will be very exciting. I won't be here to see it, but you people under 80 will. It will be very interesting. Harvest the future, because you are the future. Don't ever let anyone put you down. Politics may come and go, but technology doesn't, and neither do we. So thank you for this award. If I can end with just a gentle reminder, is because Dick struggled in the last 20 years with some very serious medical issues with both his son, who died at a very young age of a severe genetic disorder. A tragic, took many, many years, extremely expensive. And his wife struggled with cancer toward the end of her own life. Dick has actually found himself in financial hard times. So if you feel so inclined, if your business, Mr. System Integrator, Distributor, has been touched by the genius of this man, there is a GoFundMe website to help with his medical expenses. So if you feel so inclined, go see Dick at GoFundMe. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. A few moments to get organized here. So at one point, we extended an invitation to some of our press partners, or more specifically Flow Control, to also introduce their Hall of Fame candidates and winners. And here, let me read a few moments. Now, in its second decade, Flow Control's Innovation Awards recognize the industry's latest innovations and technology breakthroughs based on a nomination and reader voting process. The 2015 winners covered a wide range of technologies from flow, pressure, and temperature measurement to valve and process solutions. Here to introduce the Flow Control, what's it called again? Innovation Awards is Lori DeToro, Editorial Director, Process Flow Network. Lori?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the MCAA leadership for allowing us the opportunity to formally and publicly recognize our 2015 winners whose companies are represented here today. Gordon Arnold actually mentioned that a lot of the equipment and technology that you guys work on every day that help us do everything from drive our cars to flush our toilets to the food that we eat every day is hidden, not seen, the world doesn't know about it, and we try to use these innovation awards to kind of shine some light on some of the things that you do. Before I announce the winners, I want to let you know that we are doing these again for 2016, so if you know of a product or product upgrade that you manufacture or someone else manufactures that supports the industrial fluid handling process and was released after January 1st, 2015, then please go to flowcontrolnetwork.com/innovation awards and nominate that product, and maybe we'll be talking about you next year. The deadline for entries is May 23rd, so we'll need to have the nominations before then. The 2015 winners, and as I mentioned your company's name, if you work for that company, please stand so we can recognize you and the work that you do every day. The ProLine Crowd Over 200 Vortex Flow Meter by Endres Hauser was one of our winners. Anyone here from Endres Hauser? The Thermatel TA2 Auto Switching Thermal Mass Flow Meter was manufactured by Magnetrol. Anyone here from Magnetrol? S-Series pressure transmitter from Schneider Electric. The Citrans FC410 Coriolis flow meter from Siemens. And our last award winner was the Mass Flow Converter APP from Teledyne Hastings Instruments. Thank you so much for allowing us the time to honor these folks today.
Thank you, Lori. So lots of awards going around. Now, as we finish with lunch, the staff has asked me to review some of the details about this afternoon's concurrent breakout sessions and break areas. The first two sessions will begin